right, we'll go ahead and get started. Bo, thanks for joining us. Our first question is from Nathan King.
Hey, Bo. At the end of last season, you talked about one of your biggest off-season goals was going to be to bulk up, to have a full off-season with the strength program. Do you feel like you accomplished that now that you're finally starting practice? Did you kind of hit that strength goal that you had for yourself?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Actually, it started off really well, obviously, with being on campus doing workouts with Coach Russell. And then obviously in March when we got sent home, it was kind of disrupted just a little bit, and I had to kind of change the plans just a little bit. But I feel like I'm in great shape. I feel like I'm in a good situation moving forward. I feel like our strength staff did a great job of getting us prepared before, and when they sent us home, they continued to do a good job of kind of giving us workouts and things like that to continue to do. So I was in great physical shape. But I feel, like you said, going out there yesterday was great. I feel great moving forward. Obviously continue to do during the season, workouts and stuff like that, but I feel like I'm in a good position.
And some people around town not wearing masks or taking precautions. Just given everything that you guys have kind of sacrificed the last few months to try to make football season happen, how frustrating is that?
Well, obviously, it's a little different for each person. Obviously, us being on the football team, we're having to take extra precautions and we're having to do things a little differently from other students. But that's just the nature of it. And I think that we're in a good, safe spot over here, and we're doing a good job social distancing and staying out of other people's way. And it's going to be hard for everyone to continue to, be absolutely perfect with how they're doing certain things and how they're out and about in town and things like that. But I think the only thing we can do as players is just do our job and hope that eventually the SEC and the NCAA, when they start making decisions, they'll make it in our best interest.
Next question comes from Jason Caldwell.
Bo, when you guys obviously not having spring practice, in different kind of camp setting where you don't really have two-a-days, those is right now heading into the season.
Like you said, not having a spring with a new coach, new OC, and kind of new plays and stuff like that, I think it's been challenging. But I think as the summer has gone on, we did a good job of doing player-led practice and captain's practice. And then when the NCAA allowed us to do some OTAs and certain things like that, walkthroughs with coaches, I feel like we're in a great spot moving forward from a fall camp standpoint. Obviously, not having spring kind of it didn't allow us to kind of dive deep into the playbook or anything like that, and this is kind of our first time repping it in front of coaches. So I think that's the only difference we're looking at. But other than that, I feel like from a day one, day two standpoint, from practice yesterday and then going into practice today, I feel like we're in a great situation. And Coach Morris and the quarterbacks and all the rest of the coaches, we're in a good spot and hopefully looking to get better.
Our next question is from Rex Castillo. Rex?
Hey, Bo, Rex from WRBL. There's kind of an interesting narrative going around that because two Power 5 conferences aren't playing, do you think that's a fair thing to say, or just your thoughts on that?
Well, I think obviously we're looking at a completely different and unique year for every single person, for every single conference. No SEC teams ever played 10 SEC games, and if they did, it was a long time ago when the playoff was looking different and things like that. So it hadn't happened in a while. So I think we're looking at a completely different and unique situation, regardless of how many conferences are playing and if it's only three of us. But I think that as we get going here and as the season progresses, the standings and the seating and all that stuff will kind of play out on its own. And I think there'll be obviously, like there are every year, everyone kind of knows who the good teams are and who the teams are that should be contending for a national championship.
Next question is from Christian Clemente.
Hey, Bo. Yesterday, Gus talked about bringing in guys like Chris Davis and Wes Byram from those championship teams. How does that help you in being able to talk to those guys?
I think it's really huge. I think it goes back to just the Auburn family and the Auburn mentality and how important it is for past players that they did graduate from Auburn. They did come through here, and like Coach Malzahn says all the time, Auburn's a different place. And, we have different people and different players, and so I think getting to learn from those guys and just hearing what they've done in 2010, 2013, and moving forward, the legacy that they've left and all the good things that they accomplished, I think it's really important for them to kind of share with us because obviously we have the same goals and aspirations as they do, and we're looking to do similar things, if not the same thing, but obviously they have some unique perspective on it because they did go through some ups and downs, and then they did finish out with a championship, and so that's important. And like Coach Malzahn has been trying to tell us, they all have this similar qualities to their teams, and they all did certain things that were the same, and if we can kind of buy into that and do the same thing, we have a chance.
How are you?
Good, thank you. So yesterday, Gus was talking about how his quarterback room might be the deepest in terms of numbers that it ever has been before, maybe not in experience. What have you seen out of those guys since they arrived, but also just in terms of getting to know them as people?
Well, like you said, we do have a very, very lengthy quarterback room. I think it's 6 of us now, and so each guy brings something different to the table. We get along great. We really have a fun, unique quarterback room with Coach Morris and Coach Bryant. Obviously, we're learning a lot and just having fun doing it. And we're looking forward to continue progressing throughout the season. But like you said, it is kind of different looking at the dynamics of it. Obviously, me and Cord, we've been here for a few years, and we're kind of the oldest ones. Then we brought in Grant and Chael as new guys. Grant obviously being a fifth year, and then Chael obviously being a freshman. But certain things like that is how it just makes our room unique. And like I said, we all get along, and we're doing great things, and we're consistently talking about the plays and stuff like that. We have a great relationship, great connection, and that just all feeds off of Coach Morris and what he does and how he leads us.
Bo, with you guys not having spring practice or a traditional preseason camp, have you guys been able to build any team camaraderie yet? And also, is it tough yet to get a really good feel about strengths and weaknesses of the team?
Oh, well, absolutely. Obviously, being here for the entire summer, we've been around each other. We couldn't really go anywhere else. So our camaraderie as a team, I feel like, is really strong, and we've had some good player meetings and things like that. We've started doing some more team building things that have really allowed us to open up with each other, and that's been really, really good for our team. I feel like we've gotten to know each other in different ways than we've ever had before, gotten to know our coaches, and so that's been really cool and really important for our camaraderie. But as you said, I think it's hard to find strengths and weaknesses going into day 2 and having only the second day of practice since our bowl game. And I think that's the craziest part is we've only practiced twice since January. But if you're looking around the country, everyone's kind of doing that. So it's hard to find strengths and weaknesses right now going into day 2. But I think eventually with the experience we have at other positions and on defense, I think we'll begin to find those and begin to correct the weaknesses and hopefully build on the strengths.
Hey, Bo, I just want to ask just your overall thoughts. I mean, when the SEC schedule was released yesterday, was it kind of a sense of, okay, we're moving forward, knowing that other moment like when you saw the schedule come out, and what do you think about it overall?
Well, obviously, like you said, it's great because we can kind of look forward to something and we can prepare for teams. I think having a schedule is always great because it can kind of move you forward as far as futuristic goals and things like that. But I feel like kind of over the summer we've kind of been stuck and kind of had a bunch of questions, not knowing exactly what was going on and things like that. So having a schedule kind of reinforces the fact that we will have football and stuff like that. But as you said, I mean, I'm extremely excited about the schedule. I think it's a great opportunity to play 10 SEC games, get to play South Carolina and Tennessee and Kentucky. So different teams from the East that we don't normally get to play, and then obviously our West schedule. But obviously it's going to be a little bit unique and different, and we're going to have to go at it 1 week at a time and really focus in on our opponent, because SEC games are SEC games regardless of who it is. And I think that's the biggest adjustment we're going to have to make, is each week is going to be extremely important and more important than the last week.
Our next question is from Josh Vitale.
Hey, Bo. We've seen players from conferences around the country kind of list demands, I guess, for their conferences. And we saw you tweet out during the We Want to Play movement how supportive Auburn has been. What have the conversations been like between, players and staff, and how open has, Gus and his staff been to hearing your questions, your concerns, your opinions, et cetera, over the summer?
Well, I think here at Auburn, I think we've adjusted and taken care of it about as well as anybody could. Coach Malzahn and the rest of our staff, from everyone top to bottom, they've been completely open and transparent with us. Coach Malzahn's made sure that our needs are reflected towards him, and we know kind of where we are as a team, and if we ever need anything, if we ever have an issue, we know to go straight to him, and he'll do whatever he can to fix it for us. So from that standpoint, I feel like everyone on the team is in a comfortable position. We kind of know that we're safe, and we know the precautions and stuff that our staff has put for us, and administration's done an incredible job of being there for us and making sure that our health is the most important. So here at Auburn, I feel like we're taken care of completely, and we don't really have anything to worry about.
Bo, I'm going to ask on behalf of Philip Marshall. He was curious to know what you've seen out of KJ Britt in practice thus far.
So yesterday was kind of the only one I've seen, but I mean, obviously KJ, you know exactly what you're going to get out of KJ. You're going to get the most physical guy on the field. He's going to be loud. He's going to be communicating out there. He's going to be excited and passionate about what he does, and I think that's just kind of what KJ brings to the entire team, is that passionate guy who loves Auburn, would do anything for the team, and everyone knows it. So there's no doubt in throughout the team. There's no doubt that he will come through for us, and he's going to give us his all. And I think that spreads throughout the defense, and I think that's exactly why he's the leader of our team, and that's exactly why our defense does so great. So looking forward to just continue to see him make strides and continue to see him be out there and playing.
This summer, not just as a receiver, but what he brings to the team given his experience at quarterback too.
Yeah, Kailin is obviously he's older, so he brings great experience and great knowledge and wisdom, kind of as a leader to those that are younger than he is. And so he's kind of like he's done a great job of coming in and understanding the offense, and he's learned it really quick. And obviously, I think that him playing quarterback is going to help him like a whole lot. Just with our offense and picking things up. So he kind of has a quarterback mentality of learning everything, and I think that'll really help him moving forward. But Kailin's extremely hardworking. Obviously, he kind of came over here looking for a great opportunity, and I think he found one. And so, I mean, knowing Kailin, he's going to do whatever he can to help the team. He's a great team player, great work ethic, great leader, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing him on our team.
We got a follow-up from Nathan King.
Hey, Bo, this is kind of separate from everything we've been talking about with the virus, but for you going into year two as the starter, how do you kind of balance being that guy that's looked at, knowing the offense, that has a year? How are you planning on balancing that in preseason camp?
That's a good question. I think first, I really have to make sure that I put my stuff aside and I make sure that our team, our offense is moving in the right direction. We're all on the same page. We have good team chemistry. We're communicating right. We have good timing with the receivers, good footwork with the running backs and things like that. And then after that, I think my personal goals will take care of itself. But if we're all on the same page and the receivers are on the same page as I am, on the same page as the coaches, running backs, O-line, everybody, as long as we're moving in the right direction, I feel completely confident that aside my goals will take care of themselves. And obviously, any quarterback in this position is going to have goals and aspirations and things like that. I think every quarterback in the country does. And so at that point, at the end of the day, it's just about whose team can help and contribute the same and just which offense is going to be the best.
We've got time for a few more before we are joined by KJ Britt. The next one comes from Jason Caldwell.
Bo, Gus was talking about yesterday the need for developing even a third team in terms of depth, and obviously that means some of these newcomers are going to have to play. I know you've only had one practice, but you had workouts with them, those kind of things. What have you seen out of the group of newcomers, and has anybody kind of caught your eye just physically?
Yeah, I'm excited about the newcomers. The freshmen, Coach Russell, especially in this offseason this summer, was really bragging about them and said how good of a job that they've done. They had a great GPA coming in from last spring. And so those guys have really taken care of business, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them grow and develop as players, not only as guys around the locker room and eventually growing up and maturing in all ways that freshmen do. But, just a few, obviously Tank and Xavien, those guys have been out there working really hard, and those are just two that come to my mind. But everyone that has been out here for a while, Chael has been in my room, so I've really gotten to see him grow and develop and kind of mature as a quarterback. And obviously there's a big jump from high school to college, especially in the quarterback room. And I feel like he's done a great job of kind of taking his opportunity and making the most of it, and he's doing really good. But all the freshmen, I can honestly say all the freshmen, they're slowly maturing and learning and doing what they're supposed to do because, like you said, we're in a different time, and so a third group may be needed. And so everyone needs to be ready to play, and they're obviously here for a reason, and they can jump right in and help us.
Thanks, Bo.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Gianna Hahn.
Hey, Bo. So we haven't talked to you since April, and a lot has happened in our country since then. A lot of different social issues, and a lot of your teammates spoke out about Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. I was just wondering, how were you guys able to navigate that as a team with so many different people from so many different backgrounds? What was that like for you guys?
That's a great question. But I think it all goes back to the sport we play and how each of us have been in a locker room for our entire lives, and we've played with so many different people. I know I have been in a background to where I have seen several different things, and obviously I don't necessarily I didn't grow up like other people, but nobody really grew up like me either, so it's kind of a little bit different, and nobody's the same, and everyone's got to understand that and appreciate the differences that we share, because moving forward, I think that's the most important, is just continue to love the person next to you. And I know as a team, we've done a great job of making sure that we're on the same page, and each guy knows that they have their back, and vice versa. And I think throughout summer workouts, when we finally got back, because that was kind of at the beginning of summer, so when we got back, that was a main topic, and it hasn't been an issue on our team. I think each person has done a really good job of kind of putting their differences aside and maybe their opinions, and continue to move forward as a team and love each other and care about each other. And I think everyone knows that the person next to them has their back, and everyone knows that we have a really strong team with great relationships and things like that. And hopefully we'll continue to just make that even better, and hopefully that'll spread throughout the country.
Our next question is from Madison Allen.
Hey, Bo. As you said earlier, an SEC game is an SEC game no matter how you spin it. That combined with the absence of some of those team practices and stuff, how vital is that the season has been pushed back to September 26th?
Extremely important. Anytime you can get an extra month and kind of reevaluate things, and because there for a minute we were kind of confused about what was going to happen, and nobody really knew, nobody really had answers. So once they pushed it back and gave us fall camp at a little later date, and then finally, obviously, with the schedule coming out yesterday, I think everyone's kind of ready to go and looking forward to preparing for a season. So kind of everyone knows how it's going to look like, what it's going to be. And everyone knows it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be tough and hard and kind of grueling at times. But everyone's looking forward to it, and everyone's excited for the opportunity.
Got time for two more. We'll first go to Rick Beach.
Hey, Bo, I was wondering what it did for your confidence having Schultz and Eli Stove coming back and having them for the full count. with their experience and, of course, physical ability.
Right. Obviously, having all the receivers, everyone's healthy, everyone's back and out there on the field. It's extremely important for timing and things like that. But also, like you said, it helps with confidence. I think as an offense, it'll help our confidence with those older guys. And obviously, Flash and Shedrick and Seth, those guys are going into their third year. And so they're experienced now, and they know exactly how college football works, and they know how we do it here at Auburn. And then with Eli Stove coming back, everything in part of that is important because having experience anywhere is extremely important. That'll spread throughout the entire offense. So obviously we'll have a lot of new guys up front, but and a few guys in the backfield that'll be new. But other than that, I think the experience is key, and because of that, we have great confidence in each other.
Our last question, Bo, today will be from Brian Matthews.
Hey, Bo. Thanks for doing this. Just wanted to ask you, you mentioned Xavien. What is it about him that sort of stood out? Just tell us a little bit about him as a football player.
Well, he's a lot taller and rangier than I remembered seeing him when he was in high school. So that was obviously whenever you get a receiver like that, that's really important, a guy that can go up and get the ball. His ball skills are really good. He's really developed as a receiver as far as route running and catching the ball naturally. And anytime you get into college, you're going to have different things that you have to work on as far as maybe releases and physicality from a receiver standpoint and how you get off the line and how you get covered and things like that. But I feel confident that he's willing to work for it. And he's an extremely hard worker, extremely competitive guy. And so I'm really looking forward to him kind of continue to grow and develop and take the next step to play because like we said earlier, any depth at any position is going to be really important. So hopefully I believe he'll do a good job of doing that and being a help for us.
Thank you.
All right, Bo, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.